Good morning to everyone, good morning to the faculty, good morning to all the students. My name is B. Mani Krishna. I am from BCom Computer Applications, second year. The topic that I have chosen for today is a very important one especially for the youth. We are organizing a youth talk, so I need to address the youth. So the topic is addictions. Why do we fall into these addictions? What are the problems with the addictions and how to overcome them? So let's start. So what is an addiction? Addiction is one of those activities that we do every single day, consistently, and that stops our progress, that takes our time, that makes us feel like we are not a good human, that takes away all the motivation from us. What are the problems with addiction? There are mainly four problems. Those problems are: first one, you mentally get affected. Your brain starts to think differently. You start becoming very angry. You start losing your motivation. You start feeling like you don't have a good life. You start becoming more and more angry. And you also have a physically you start getting ill. If you do drug abuse, you start smoking cigarettes, you start tobacco abuse, you start drinking alcohol. All of these things affect your motivation and they also affect you physically. So you start performing really bad in every situation because if you don't have a good health, you cannot really do anything. You are a physical being, you are a human, right? That's why we need a lot of physical strength, and addictions take away all the physical strength from us. And if that's not the case, we lose money. Money is being lost in some addictions. For example, gambling. When you take gambling as an example, you lose a lot of money. Sometimes you gain it, but most of the time you lose your money because of gambling. So your money is also being lost. Think about something else. Like you start doing all these addictions and you start lying to other people. You start lying to your friends. You start lying to your teachers. You start lying to your parents. And these things take you all away from the relations you have. Take you away from the relationships you have. So why do we get these addictions? We know addictions are really bad for us. So why do we fall into these addictions in the first place? The reason is, there are many reasons. But the main reason is that we always seek pleasures as a human, and those pleasures are being given to us without doing anything when we are doing these addictions. So let's say you want happiness. You need happiness, right, in your life. How do you get happiness? There are many ways to get happiness. For example, you become an IAS officer. You feel really happy, right? You feel like you have achieved so much of stuff in your life, right? But there's another way to get happy. There's another way to feel like you conquered the world. You know what it is? Abusing drugs. What is easier? Becoming an IAS officer? Or just smoking a cigarette? Which is easy? Which takes more time? Which takes less time? Which takes more effort? Which takes less effort? Think about it, right? When you think about it, you understand that your addictions are being caused because you seek pleasures as a human, and those pleasures are being given to you for not doing anything. But the problem is, there is no addition of value to your life when you do these addictions. When you start abusing drugs, when you start watching phone for a long time, and also time also is being wasted. For example, let's say you spend like 10 hours a day watching phone and playing games. What happens? You lose a lot of time, right? You're a young person, and one of the biggest assets you have in your life is time. Because time can make anything possible. We are living in a world where we don't need a lot of money or fame to get success. All we need is knowledge. Knowledge is key, right? And you gain that knowledge by utilizing the time. So your time is also being lost during these addictions when you get addicted. And another reason why we get addicted is because of our peer pressure. Sometimes we don't want to smoke. We know smoking is harmful to our health, but the friends that you are surrounded with, they are smoking, and they also induce you into smoking. Even if you don't want to smoke, you start smoking because your friends are. They force you to do it. And during these days, anyone feels really like a lot of stress in their life, right? Stress is a really big factor of every person's life. And in order to escape the stress, what we do? We start seeking pleasure from the things that don't add value to our life. They don't make us financially more independent. They don't make us more intelligent. They don't make us feel more confident. They don't improve our spirituality. But we feel like we need to go to those pleasures because we are feeling a lot of burden in our life. So what do we have to do? We have to stop thinking that it's a burden. You have to take it more like a courageous person. A courageous person never feels like he's being pushed into a burden. He always feels like he needs to improve. He needs to conquer the world, no matter what. So these are the things that these are the reasons why we get addicted to a lot of things. So what is the solution? I have already talked about the solutions, but let's dive deep into it. One of the biggest solutions that I found out personally is that you have to make the access to the addiction harder. So let's say you are playing games, mobile games, and you don't like it. What will you have to do? Whenever you see your phone, you feel like you want to play games. What is the solution? You put the phone away in a locker and start using a basic phone. The phone that you need for communication. And you start reducing all the things that make your mind go into that addiction once again. So I want to share a story about me. So I was addicted to a game when I was like 9th or 10th. And whenever I played that game, I felt like, no, I don't want to play that game. It's really boring. But I still keep going to that game once again because it's a habit. So I really wanted to overcome it. The best way I found out was uninstalling the game whenever I wanted to play it. So I uninstalled it and reinstalled it once again whenever I wanted to play. So what happened? The access got harder. I had to install it, wait for 20 minutes for it to install, then play it. The pleasure became harder for me to access. That meant I had to do more hard work to get there, to get to the guilty pleasure. And after a week or so, I lost the motivation to even open the phone, even go get once again, because I felt like I could have done much better things with my life, with my time. I found out more hobbies, more stuff to do in my life. And the next thing that I want to talk about is goal. When you have goal in your life, you always feel motivated, no matter in which situation you are. And that goal has to be in a manner which makes you feel like a better person. The goal has to mean a lot more to you than just a small pleasure, a small happiness, right? Have a goal in your life. Why am I saying this? For example, I give you a bike to ride and I don't tell you where to go. What will happen? You will get lost in all the traffic. You will go in the wrong places. You don't know where you're going. You get lost. You don't have a map. You don't know how to come back to the place where you are. If you have a goal, you can make a plan. No, I need to take this route, then that route. That leads to the goal, the place where I want to be. So always have a goal in your life and start using your time for the things that you feel good about. Start putting all your energy into the things that make you feel happy, into the things that are more productive. These are the ways that I have found, and stop hanging out with the friends that are making you feel bad about yourself, that are pulling you away from the goals that you have. These are the things that I found that really help you fight those addictions. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. Thank you.